Here I am. Good morning. Here I get some ones if you can hear me. Of course, the dog has to go and get his toy so he could be annoying. It's been a while since I've done a meeting. Last time I did a meeting, it was all kind of crazy going on in the basement of StreamYard, and yeah. But anyways, hopefully he finds a better path than to be doing stuff like that. Okay, Mike. So I have been super busy at work. Um, I tell you, I work 10-hour days, 4 days a week. This last week has not been a great week. Husband ended up with the COVID for the first time, and so he was really sick. um, he ended up testing on Sunday, and I was at work, and I just happened to say, he messaged me, he says, my sinuses hurt, and I was like, oh no. And so he does have allergies, and he's been out of allergy meds, but I was at work, and so I told him, I said, send the kid over to get a test. So he did. And not even 2 seconds after he put the drops in it, it was positive. So it's been a really rough week for him and trying to get over that. He is at work today, so he's feeling better. Last night he tested, and it took all the way up until like a minute till his alarm was supposed to go off for the test to be done. So he went ahead and went to work today. So I've been covering. I have to cover this week because no vacation, no sick pay for him. So I've been super busy. But anyways, today is an AA day. I changed it. Last week I had said that I was going to go ahead and start doing it on Friday mornings at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that is so that way it works with my schedule. Um, I do work full time now, so it's just a lot. Um, but anyways, good morning. I'm Sandra, and I'm an alcoholic. We're gonna go ahead and read the 12 steps today, and then I'm going to start in the big book again. Yes, it's repetitive, but like I said before, each time you read the books, you get something else out of it that you may not have been paying attention to or whatever the first time you heard it. So, with that, let's say a serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. But also, I did not put in the description today what page we are on, but I did put the book. So I do that every week. Each day I do an AA meeting. Unfortunately, the only AA day meetings that I will be able to do is Fridays at this moment in time. So, with that, let's get on with 12 steps. Hi, Lily. Oh no. Please keep Pippi in your prayers. She's going to have surgery. Oh, I'm so sorry. All right. Step 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. Every time I start over, I get tongue-tied on it. So, 7, humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continue to take personal inventory and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for His see. Okay, let's try that again. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. We're in the preface. I think that'll probably be. I'll read the preface and forward to first edition because it's just me reading. So this is the fourth edition of the book Alcoholics Anonymous. The first edition appeared in April 1939, and in the following 16 years, more than 300,000 copies went into circulation. The second edition, published in 1955, reached a total of more than I don't think we need to read this part. Forward. Okay, this is forward to first edition. Sorry, guys, I'm like skipping, but we know that the books have been around for a very long time. Forward to the first edition. This is the forward as it appeared in the first printing of the first edition in 1939. We of Alcoholics Anonymous are more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. To show other alcoholics precisely how we have recovered is the main purpose of this book. For them, we hope these pages will prove so convincing that no further authentication will be necessary. We think this account of our experiences will help everyone to better understand the alcoholic. Many do not comprehend that the alcoholic is a very sick person, and besides, we were sure that our way of living has its advantages for all. It is important that we remain anonymous because we were too few at present to handle the overwhelming number of personal appeals which may result from this publication, being mostly because of professional folk. We could not well carry on our occupations in such an event. We would like to understand that our alcoholic work is an avocation. When writing or speaking publicly about alcoholism, we urge each of our fellowship to omit his personal name, designating him instead as a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Very earnestly, we ask to press also to observe this request, for otherwise we shall be greatly handicapped. We are not an organization in the conventional sense of the word. There are no fees or dues whatsoever. The only requirement for membership is an honest desire to stop drinking. We are not allied with any particular faith, sect, or denomination, nor do we oppose anyone. We simply wish to be helpful to those who are afflicted. We shall be interested to hear from those who are getting results from this book, particularly from those who have commenced work with other alcoholics. We should like to be helped to such cases. Inquiry by scientific, medical, and religious societies will be welcome. Alcoholics Anonymous. Forward to second edition. Figures given in the foreword describe the fellowship as it was in 1955. Since the original foreword to this book was written in 1939, a wholesale miracle has taken place. Our earliest printing voiced the hope that every alcoholic who journeys will find the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous at his destination already continues through early text. Twos and threes and fives of us have sprung up in other communities. 16 years have elapsed between our first printing of this book and the presentation uh, presentation in 1955 of our second edition. In that brief space, Alcoholics Anonymous had mushroomed into nearly 6,000 groups whose membership is far above 150,000 recovered alcoholics. Groups are to be found in each of the United States and all of the provinces of Canada. AA has flourished in communities in the British Isles, the Scandinavian countries, South Africa, South America, Mexico, Alaska, Australia, and Hawaii. All told, promising beginnings have been made in some 50 foreign countries and U.S. possessions. Some are just now taking shape in Asia. Many of our friends encourage us by saying that this is but a beginning, only the augury of a much larger future ahead. The spark that was to flare into the first AA group was struck at Akron, Ohio in June 1935 during a talk between a New York stockbroker and an Akron physician. 6 months earlier, the broker had been relieved of his drink obsession by a sudden spiritual experience following a meeting with an alcoholic friend who had been in contact with the Oxford groups of that day. He had also been greatly helped by the late Dr. William D. Silkworth, a New York specialist in alcoholism, is now accounted no less than a medical saint by AA members, and whose story of the early days of our society appear in the next page. From this doctor, the broker had learned the grave nature of alcoholism, though he could not accept all the tenets of the Oxford group. He was convinced of the need for moral inventory, confession of personality defects, restitution to those harmed, helpfulness to others, and the necessity of belief in a dependence upon God. Prior to his journey to Akron, the broker had worked hard with many alcoholics on the theory that only an alcoholic could help an alcoholic, but he had succeeded only in keeping sober himself. The broker had gone to Akron on a business venture which had collapsed, leaving him greatly in fear that he might start drinking again. He suddenly realized that in order to save himself, he must carry his message to another alcoholic. That alcoholic turned out to be the Akron physician. The physician had repeatedly tried spiritual means to resolve his alcoholic dilemma, but had failed. But when the broker gave him Dr. Silkworth's description of alcoholism and its hopelessness, the physician began to pursue the spiritual remedy from his malady with a willingness he had never before been able to muster. Dog. He sobered never to drink again up to the moment of his death in 1950. This seemed to prove that one alcoholic could affect another, as no non-alcoholic could. It also indicated that strenuous work, one alcoholic with another, was vital to permanent recovery. Hence, the two men set to work almost frantically upon alcoholics arriving in the ward of the Akron City Hospital. Their very first case, a desperate one, recovered immediately and became AA number 3. He never had another drink. This work at Akron continued through the summer of 1935. There were many failures, but there were an occasional heartening success. When the broker returned to New York in the fall of 1935, the first AA group had actually been formed through no one realized or so no one realized it at the time. Um, I think I'll stop there. I At work I'm like this all day, so my neck hurts really bad. But I agree, the alcoholic has to help the alcoholic. We don't have to, but that is part of the way to stay sober is to help another alcoholic, whether they get sober forever or not. Um, that service work. By doing service work, it gives us something to look forward to on being sober. And I know for me, doing these meetings here, going to meetings, when I was going to my meetings, um, hearing other people's stories and knowing that you can help someone in that way, it's amazing. I didn't think that I would be a very good help until one of my friends came to me and she asked for help after, you know, life things happen. And she realized that she needed help. And I was there and ready and willing to help, just as I am today. I'm open and honest about my sobriety, about my alcoholism. I don't shoot. Just the other day, I admitted to my parents, "Hey, I did take your change when I was growing up." But that's what being a sober alcoholic does: is it teaches you to be honest with yourself and others as much as you can be. But also, it's hard when you first get sober. Believe me, I know it is. I I didn't think that AA would work for me either, because when I first got sober, I was like, nah, I don't. I can do it on my own. And then y'all know the story. My friend talked me into going to a meeting. The first meeting I ever went to on my own without a parent. In other words, my birth father. Anyways, on with that. So my first actual meeting of me being able to hear people's stories and realize that I was not alone. I was not the only person that was a parent, a sister, a friend, and that opened my eyes on that first meeting. How everybody was saying their names around the room, how everybody was able to share their feelings and their thoughts of what they went through that day or that week. Um, and knowing that you have those people that you can rely on to call and say, "Hey, I'm struggling with this right now. What should I do?" And for me, my sponsors always, always tell me, breathe, use your voice, and pray. And not pray for myself. I stopped praying for myself a long time ago because it's not for me to pray for myself. I have to pray for those others who are suffering, who have fallen off the wagon and feel like they can't come back. You can always come back. Always. No matter how many times you fall down, AA groups are still there to welcome you back. a lot of people don't get it. They'll come to AA once and say, nope, that's not for me, and they'll go right back to drinking. It's sad, but we can't, all we can do is teach them the things that we have been taught in our meetings, and share how it has worked for you in your sobriety. You can't make somebody want to do it. You can't make them do this step. You can't make them do anything. The only person you can make do anything is yourself. And you have to, I stress this a lot, you have to want it for yourself. Do not do it for anyone else but yourself. I quit smoking in February or March. I have not had a cigarette since. Not even, I think I've had one drag since then. And that was right after I quit. But I was in the pink cloud. I know about the pink cloud because when I quit drinking, I was in a pink cloud. I felt wonderful because I wasn't drinking and all of that stuff. And that took me, after I started going to AA, I started dreaming of the alcohol just as I had before AA. And then eventually it faded. Then I started having dreams that I was smoking when I quit smoking. And, I know it will pass. But being able to be here and help other alcoholics is a gift. It is a pleasure to be able to share steps and tricks and tips and all those things are things that work for me. It may not work for you, but you can find your way of it helping you. All of my sponsees that I have had, I have told them, you gotta do it for you, because if you can't do for you, you can't do for your kid, you can't do for your friends, you can't do for anyone else. You have to do for you first. And I've had one of them say something about not believing in God. I said, you don't have to. It's a higher power. Use the higher power that you choose. You don't have to be religious to be sober. You just need to have that higher power to rely on, that, when you're feeling down and out and you feel like you're going to slip back into who you were before, please give it to the higher power. That's what it's for. And I started this new job. Hey, I knew you were going to do that. He's over here tearing apart his ball. It's annoying. But it's a bumpy ride. A very bumpy ride. I still, even when I'm at work, I'm still getting irritated and very upset with things. I do voice it once in a while to somebody. I will vent to them, but I will say I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I gotta tell somebody what's on my nerves, you know. But that's me being honest. Not everybody wants everybody to know that they're a recovering alcoholic, or that they're the alcoholic who still suffers, and that is their choice. All we can do is pray that they make it. We can't force them to do it. They have to want to do the steps. They have to want to have that sobriety. And my sister is coming up on 9 years. I'm super proud. Super, super proud. But yeah. Anyways, guys, I look forward to doing my meetings on Fridays. I don't know if I'm going to be able to squeeze in any other live streams for the time being because of my schedule. Um, so until further notice, it's going to be Friday, guys. Friday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Um, but yeah, it's supposed to be 83 degrees today. Thank goodness we got the air conditioners in the windows. And I pray for everybody to stay cool out there, stay hydrated, and stay sober. Stay sober. But with that, I will see you guys next week. Let's say the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you guys. Come back. It works if you work it. Love you. Stay safe. Stay sober.